What's going on YouTube? Welcome to Westy's Angling. Joining me in the tackle room again today, and today's video is going to be a bit of a Blue Peter style video, and it's going to be a short one. What we're going to be doing today is testing the overnight method feeder pellet hack, and we're going to see if it's any good. So what is the method feeder pellets hack? Well, a lot of you are probably like me and like to mix your method feeder pellets when you're on the bank. But I was watching a video of a fella that likes to make his method feeder pellets the night before and leave them in the fridge overnight. Now there's a specific way that you have to do this to make it work properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through how to do this step by step, so you can try it yourself at home if you wanted to. So all you do is really simple. I've got some of my own brand pellets here available at www.WestysAngling.co.uk. Little plug there. If you enjoy the video and it's helpful, make sure you head over to the website and grab yourself some pellets. So the pellets that I'm going to be using for this little demo is chocolate orange halibut and caramel cream. I like to do a mix of light and dark, and also these are slightly different sizes. So these are just short of 2mm, and these are 2mm normal method feeder pellets. So let's layer these up. Now, one thing that is really important is you've got to pick the right size tub. Obviously, you don't want to be making too many pellets and you don't want to be running out on the bank. So make sure that you pick the right size tub, and it's got to be an airtight sealable container. Just a normal Tupperware will do from any supermarket, but make sure it's pretty tight, the lid, and that's really important. So the one I've gone with here is 1 litre. So I find that 1 litre is probably the perfect size. By eyeballing, I'll probably mix about half of these each on the bank, and you want to put in enough to fill the tub. You don't want it brimming, but you want enough in there that you can cover it with water. So I've got some water here, just normal tap water. Obviously, if you wanted to add your goos or your glazes or whatever, you can put them in here as well. And what you want to do, and this is really important, is you want to fill this so it covers all the pellets, but just covers them. You don't want a load of water and then your pellets sat down in the water. You want it to just cover the pellets. And I'll explain why that's important in a minute. And then seal them, stick them in the fridge, and they should be absolutely perfect, apparently, for the next morning. So we'll seal that up. Like I said, this is a nice tight container, this one. And if it was true Blue Peter style, I'd already have one ready. But I don't, so we're going to have to wait till tomorrow morning and we'll see what they're like. So the reason that you fill them absolutely perfectly is you want the osmosis to happen. Now, I understand osmosis is probably a big word for a humble fisherman like myself, but what will happen is because you've just filled them, the water won't soak into the bottom pellets more than it'll soak into the top pellets. You want it to soak evenly throughout the pellets, and that happens via osmosis. So the water is going to penetrate into all the pellets and you're going to be good to go. That's also why it's so important that you don't underfill it and you don't put too much water in over the top. It's got to be just the right amount of water for pellets, so it's just covering the pellets. So it's easier to do that if you've absolutely brimmed it with pellets, so that you know that you're not going to put too much water in. Right folks, we'll reconvene tomorrow morning and we'll see what these are like and see how easy they load onto the method feeder. Rightio folks, so these have been in the fridge overnight. You'll have to forgive me if I can't talk because it's currently 5:30 in the morning, so I'm still half asleep. These have been in the fridge from about 7:30 last night till obviously 5:30 now this morning. So we're going to give them a test out. I've got some method feeders here, and I've got a mould, so we're going to squeeze some of these around the method feeder and see how the pellets behave. So under first impressions, just taking the lid off there, they've all retained the shape, which is what you want, but some of them have started to lose the shape a little bit, and I think some of the ones on the bottom have gone a little bit mushy. So it looks like it has near enough evenly distributed all that water that we put in. So it's not an absolute fail, but I would say the bottom ones are still probably a little bit wetter than the top ones. But other than that, absolutely fine. If you like your method feeder pellets soft, rather than still retaining a little bit hardness, this is the absolute perfect way to do them. Or if you're not quite sure how long to soak your pellets for, this might be easier for you if you're a beginner. I'm still going to soak mine on the bank. I'm going to tell you that now, and I'll explain why. But we've got our method feeder mold. So these are my own brand commercial camo method feeders. So that's what we're going to be using. So we're going to put some pellets in the mold here. I'm going to make an absolute mess. Usually you'd tip these into your bait bucket or whatever. So let's squeeze these around the feeder. There's no excess water coming out, which is great. And yeah, they mold perfectly fine around the method feeder. They have lost quite a bit of the shape, the pellets, which is fine. That'll still work. The water will get in between all them pellets and it'll still break apart, and that'll work well. Let's try another one. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a tub and we'll dig into it, and we'll put half of these in a separate tub so we can see what the bottom's like. Okay, folks. So if you can see this, the bottom has gone a little bit more mushy than the top pellets had. But most of them still have the pellet form. So I'm sure they'll be fine. So let's try some of these bottom pellets. There we go. So that's a fully loaded method feeder there, and it's absolutely perfect. I'm sure they'd still break down. Yeah, they still, can you see how they're still breaking down into their individual pellets? So they're fine. I'm sure that they would work perfectly. Personally, I won't be using this method because, like I said to you, I do feel like these are a little bit soft. I prefer my pellets to be a little bit harder than this because I feel like you can do more with harder pellets. So what I mean by that is you can really press them into the mold, but they'll still break off the method feeder perfectly. You know, for when you're like casting over to islands or into deeper spots, you don't want them all coming off the method feeder on the cast. But yeah, it's not sticking in the mold. It's fine. So yeah, I would say that that's a successful method feeder pellets hack. So if you're one of these people that don't like mixing your pellets on the bank, give it a shot. All right, folks, I just want to say thanks very much for watching. If you do want to support the channel, like I've said about 3 times in this video, head over to www.WestysAngling.co.uk. If you want to see how we get on with these pellets, method feeder fishing, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and we'll have a couple of sessions on the bank using the overnight method feeder pellet hack. All right, folks, I'll see you next time.